What's up, it's Cinema Shogun here, and in my last video, we talked about how Ezra Miller has this medicine man slash spiritual advisor who has helped convince people, and maybe even helped convince Ezra himself, that he is like this Messiah that is sent here for the sole reason to battle with the New World Order, the Illuminati, the Freemasons. Now, you might want to go watch that video to get more backstory, because that video is really significant if you want to understand what's happening in this video. But anyways, so we know that Ezra Miller thinks he's the Messiah sent here to fight this battle. And we know that Ezra Miller has been accused of doing some weird things with young women. The main young woman in question, which is not the only young woman that is with Ezra Miller or has been with Ezra Miller, it's just one that we all know of. I personally know that there has been way more. And at any given time, Ezra is walking around here, around the entire globe-trotting, with a handful of young women, some who I don't even believe are of age. Well, the main one that everyone's been talking about is Tokata Iron Eyes, because her family has been pretty vocal out there trying to get their daughter back. Now, she is 18 now, but due to tribal law, she is a Native American. She used to live on a reservation or whatever. Due to the tribal law, she is not considered an adult yet. However, Ezra Miller sunk his teeth into her, and I do mean that kind of literally, when she was 12 years old. And he's been a constant part of her life ever since. Allegedly, he had sex with her on a mattress outside of a trailer while other Native Americans were setting up an altar back when she was 14 years old. There's a lot of weird, questionable things going on in that relationship. Well, Tokata seems to be like Ezra's right hand Gibson. I say Gibson because Tokata now identifies, I guess, as a man and calls herself Gibson, all because Ezra Miller has convinced her that she's like a dude. I don't know. It's really complicated, okay? But Tokata is like Ezra's right hand woman, man, whatever you want to call it. Second in command. Like the most special. And I picked up on that dynamic early on because I know a lot of the people in the outside world who don't pay attention to the story or don't know all of the details. You just think that it's just Tokata there. No, there's other women there as well. And often Ezra pits these women against each other. It runs deep. It runs deep. But it appears that Ezra Miller has now woven Tokata into this whole weird delusion about him being this supernatural being that was sent here as the next Messiah to destroy all evil. And it appears that he's convinced Tokata that she is also the chosen one. Miller is said to have woven young Tokata Iron Eyes into his narrative, claiming that the pair were fated together. Ezra is Jesus, and Tokata is an apocalyptic Native American spider goddess, and their union is supposed to bring about the apocalypse. And that's the real reason everyone is so opposed to them being together, recaps one of Ezra's friends. And also, Tokata's mother shares the same story. He says that he is some kind of Messiah, and he is going to lead an indigenous revolution. Now, Ezra Miller isn't Native American. He has no Native American ancestry. And despite being fixated on Native cultures, he doesn't even strike the natives as being remotely respectful at all. He professes that he walks through this world with an indigenous humility and spiritual awareness, says one indigenous leader, but point of fact, he doesn't at all, because he doesn't even care. And that's true. He doesn't care at all. Ezra is the king of using like minorities, indigenous people, the LGBTQ community. He uses all of that as shields. So he goes into these Native American communities under the guise of, oh, I care about Native Americans and I want to fix things here and help fight the fight, when in reality, he's just going to try to get young girls. And then he says, oh, I'm non-binary, I'm this, I'm that gender, I'm this gender, these are my pronouns. All to block him from criticism while he's walking around here out in the open. Okay? That's the difference between a lot of these weirdos and Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller is out here living in tents with little girls. A freaking multi-millionaire that plays the Flash is out here living in tents on the side of the road with young little girls. He's out in the open. Everyone sees it. No one does anything about it. No one does anything about it. He thinks he is literally Jesus, the next coming of Jesus. And he's convinced Tokata that she's a Native American spider goddess. He's pumping this little girl full of Lord knows what, allegedly. And while she's all over the place, hallucinating, not understanding the real reality, he's convinced her that she's a spider goddess. And the reason her family's against it, the reason I'm against it, the reason anyone is against it, is because they're about to bring about the apocalypse. The dynamic duo of Ezra Miller and a little girl. The non-binary king Ezra Miller and the freaking underage Native American girl named Tokata that once chilled with Greta Thunberg are going to bring about the apocalypse. It almost sounds believable. Because you want to know what is going to bring about the apocalypse? A bunch of people being confused about gender and a bunch of people overly concerned about climate change and all of this nonsense. They're going to bring about the end of the world as we know it. Maybe the world won't blow up. But damn. Really think about the world we're living in right now when things like this are allowed to happen. You have to keep in mind one thing, folks. We know about all of this stuff. I've known about a lot of this stuff for a while now, but now it is public information for everyone to consume. And he still hasn't lost his job. This guy is still going to be the Flash in the next DC Heroes comic book movie that little kids and adults alike are all going to go crowd around and watch. Everyone's going to go sit down and watch this chomo, this freak, this weirdo who's damaged the lives of countless little kids play the freaking Flash, and Warner Brothers will not get rid of him. They will not fire him. They will fire Johnny Depp when he's accused of doing something that he's not doing. But even though there's concrete proof of all this stuff Ezra Miller has done, it's on video, there's pictures, there's freaking lawsuits, I'm sure, on the way. He's going to court in a couple of weeks. In like 10 days, I think this dude is showing up in court for a felony burglary charge. There's so much, and it's all there, and they are turning a complete blind eye to it. Meanwhile, we have a young girl out here wandering the world like a freaking nomad who's lost her mind completely, thinking she's a spider god because the Flash told her so. She thinks she's a freaking spider god. That's just sad. That is sad. But it doesn't surprise me. Nothing surprises me anymore. And that's what really makes me really feel weird is when we get news like this and it's just like, You know, because I don't want this stuff to become the norm. That's really dangerous. It's like we're being desensitized every single day to the point that stuff like this, like you're watching this video and you're like, oh yeah, well, I need something juicier. I need better tea. Better tea than a multi-millionaire, successful Hollywood actor convincing an underage girl that she is a spider queen that is going to bring about the apocalypse. That's not juicy enough for people anymore. That's not even abnormal. That's just another day, another walk in the park, another average Sunday in America. But hey, man, what can you do? We could just sit here and watch the world burn. Apparently, Ezra and Tokata are going to bring about the apocalypse. You know what? I welcome it. Maybe it's time. But I want to know your thoughts about all of this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.